Good morning! おはようございます。森尾町レディオ。
Hello everyone. To be honest with you, this is gonna be a very special video because I technically don't have the right to read any script. So I guess I will just I will use sometimes the traductor because I don't have the perfect English and I don't know every word. So yeah, that's it. I guess I'm going to have to improvise a little bit. The theme of today's video will be Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. Jonathan grew all his life with the dream of being a true gentleman. After one of his short adventures, when he was going back to home, he listened a sound of a carriage approaching to him. He never expected that the person that will come out of there will become in that one that will change the way of all his life forever, and with that all his lineage. So all his lineage were just about to change just because of that fact. That's how JoJo's Bizarre Adventure starts. It has a lot of very Pinterest characters, I guess. I don't know how to spell it right, but that's it. Pinterest characters. And well, the name Jojo came from thanks to the first letter that conforms a Jojo name. For example, Jonathan Joestar. It comes from Joe of Jonathan and Joe from Joestar. Hirohiko Araki had the honor of create this fabulous series that started being a manga, which was released in 1987, and the anime was launched by David Productions, and by today it's still on air, and it follows every step of the events occurred in the manga. And actually, there are two parts of the manga that are still not being animated yet. Every part of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure has a different protagonist. Actually, it comes with 8 parts, and all these form part of the same lineage, with the exception of the last 2 ones that comes from a different universe, an alternate universe. By the same way, by this being a lineage, all of these are found in a different decade, a different age, and where the protagonists have their respective group of friends, and none of them will be same of that were there before. The characters will come to with an unique and pretty colorful design. And will have a pretty original personality, and their personality will be very, very strong and defined, which made the fans of the series going to start questioning about the sexuality about those characters. A long time before, I saw a lot of people trying to get to the point to organize the characters in a tier list of which one of the JoJo's characters are the gayest of them all, going from the top to the bottom. Some of them are closer to a good response, but some of them just let themselves go with the memes and the jokes around, and it just doesn't make their kind of essay very precise. So my job here will be to become one of the, I guess, neutral parts of all of it and judge the characters objectively and be the most detailed and precise that I can be, speaking about their personality, all the facts, and follow all the clues that our show led us to know about the characters. So the first part is Phantom Blood. The first protagonist, Jonathan Joestar, had a bizarre adventure in the age of 1888, not very favorable age for those people who were not heterosexual. And someone with a different sexuality will be probably very bad thing for the society. But even though we can see a lot of different evidence that proves that if there were no such a close decade or age, so retarded in social themes, probably Jonathan will have been with facility a gay or with bisexual person. The clues were a lot, starting with the personality of the character. Since he was young, he was a very gentle guy, sensitive guy, and pretty unique in his own way. He always wanted to be a true gentleman, and for that age, probably being gay was something like being nasty or rude or something that just don't go with the gentleman description. So well, in that age, man didn't express his feelings with such a facility as Jonathan did. His whole world always revolved around his brother. Well, technically he's not his brother at all. He's just someone that his father kind of adopted for a favor that he owned to someone else. And well, his life, like I said, he has always turned around Dio, his not brother's name, in such an extent that affected future generations for him. And well, both of them were presented in the series as two stars, as two twin stars that were together in a same destiny. Even if the rivalry that that they carried through all their lives, they never could hate each other. What's more is that by the end of the season, it was shown that what they really felt for each other could describe textually like a strange friendship. In the series, we could understand that at the first moment that Dio was shown, he wanted to make Jonathan have an impossible life to live, making that he weren't even able to have any friends. But at the moment that a girl called Irina could establish a relationship with him, technically kind of formal, Dio didn't get bothered in taking questionable actions. He for separate her from his rival. What he did was kissing Irina for that, so that Jonathan couldn't have his first kiss with her, because Dio said clear that he wouldn't ever allow him to have a girlfriend or friends, exposing the constant necessity that he felt for being him the unique one, the only one, the need that he felt to be the only thing Jonathan's life revolved around, and the only one, basically. Dio was not a shy person, not even was, for him, it wasn't even difficult to dissimulate affect, and in fact, probably it will be more convenient for him to create a strong friendship with Jonathan, and in that way he could be a rich man with rich friends, and probably that will be a more powerful way to become someone important in the society. But he just chose to have an irrational irrational hate to him instead. A an, an attentive viewer will qualify this more like a psychological trauma with an unknown origin that gave as a result fear to the effect, and love demonstrations, or at least true love demonstrations. By the same way, at the end of the season, Jonathan reaches the goal of marrying Irina, but in a moment he realized that the ship which he was traveling in for his honeymoon with Irina were going to be attacked by Dio and his minions. In a moment, Dio reveals that Jonathan was the only person that he has ever respected in his whole life. And in a moment, in the moment that the ship were about to explode, Irina searched Jonathan for escape, but he was about to die, and he wanted her to escape with a baby that a woman died for protecting. With escape with a baby that a woman saved by dying for protecting her. Irina accepts saving her and escapes, leaving Jonathan alone. But was kind of difficult because Irina wanted to stay with him and die with him, but Jonathan could never accept that kind of fate. So, in the moment that he was left alone, he grabbed Dio's head. He was still alive because he turned himself into a vampire. So Jonathan hugged him with all his will for not letting him escape. On his deathbed, Dio, in an attempt to convince Jonathan to join him, offered him the whole world, everything he could ever think about, he offered him. And offering at the last, maybe thinking that he had no choice, a quiet and peaceful life with Irina. We could see the expression of pain and suffering in Dio's face after noticing that his companion of life has really died. And now, let's talk about battle tendency. It's the part 2 of Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. Joseph is Jonathan's grandson. Thanks to the fact that Irina was pregnant and had a son, it's Jonathan's offspring could continue with him. Here, things happened in a more discreet way if we talk about Joseph's strong but charismatic personality. But it's the relationship he has with his friend that makes suspicions rise again through enough to consider him bisexual. The evidence are those facts. Joseph at the beginning of the story showed that he did not have any skills to get the attention of a girl, or rather, he treated them like the same way he would treat a boy, making them annoyed with him, although over the time and possibly thanks to his best friend, Shisa, that way of acting is no longer part of him. Shisa from the beginning powerfully caught Joseph's attention, so much that even without knowing him, he was relatively jealous when he flirted with a girl in front of him. As they became closer friends, Shisa ended up recognizing that his friendship with Joseph was worth more than any girl he's ever been with. Anyway, Joseph at the end of the season married a girl named Suzuki after Shisa died, sacrificing himself for him. And in a subsequent seasons, it is shown that he ended up cheating on her with another girl despite being married. We can deduce that cheating or something or things like that doesn't really matter or affect him. To be with he doesn't really care about being with several girls. But his attitude became more serious, and he would be unable to have cheated on Shisa if they had gone out together. A curious detail is that when Shisa picked up a girl, he used to give her a necklace with a red gem in the middle. Joseph wore a suspiciously similar necklace in the following season, at least in the anime. Of course, we know that Shisa just died in the second season, so well, it's kind of suspicious, like I said before.
違うシーサーかそこにシーサーシーサーシーサーここは敵地どこかにワムーとカーズが潜んでいるしかし2人は感情を抑えきれなかったジョジョは叫んだシーザーの名をリサリサは流した悲しみの涙をけれどもシーザーの名を呼んでも帰ってくるのは残酷な静寂だけシーザーは死んだのだジョジョとリサリサは静寂によってこの事実を実感したその身尽きてもその魂は死なずシーザー・ツェペリここに眠る
Joseph, unlike Jonathan, is someone with such more rebellious adolescent attitude, and sometimes he can even be much more like hurtful with people without thinking about it. In short, he is someone somewhat immature. And when it comes to girls, he has made himself understood that he prefers them to for not a very serious relationship. And when he got married, he did his best to not ruin everything. It's curious to think that, in fact, he decided to make the delicate decision of marrying the girl having met her barely a month ago, and having started a relationship in what seems to be less than a month, almost as if he has trying to anger something by force. But there are things that one cannot avoid. However, with Shisa, everything was very different. Beyond something physical, was able to empathize with him. And the fact that they got along so well, it could only be affirmed by that they could have a relationship together without affecting what they were both looking for. Their dynamic as friends was, to say at least, very, very sassy. Now, let's talk about the most suspicious season. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the Stardust Crusaders, the part 3. This season unfolds with the arrival of an enemy well known to all of us. Dio, who survived the ship's explosion by cutting off Jonathan's head and keeping his body to later remain under the ocean for at least 100 years, I guess, in a coffin. When he was uh, untreated, I don't know, he gained a new ability known as Stand. The protagonist of this season is Jotaro, however you want to say it, I don't care, who, thanks to the awakening from Dio's stand and having Jonathan's body connected to him, also obtained a stand alongside his grandfather Joseph and his mother Holly. And Jotaro is undoubtedly at the top of the list of the homosexual characters in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. These are the evidence of what I'm saying, of what I'm talking about. From the beginning of the first chapter, it's known that Jotaro hates women to the point that he cannot even stand his own mother. He can't be with her without calling her bitch. Anyway, he loves her deep down. He will never be able to express a minimum degree of affection to her. Sooner than later, Jotaro can be seen very fascinated when he meets a boy in of his own age, who introduced himself as Noriaki Kakyoin. Just like Jotaro, he had a stand too, but he had it from birth, so, well, he knows his own stand very well. But both have a fight, and when Jotaro wins, he ends up realizing that he was being controlled by Dio, so he decides to save him from that control. And the funny thing is that when Kakyoin asks him why did he save him, Jotaro just vaguely said that not even he was really sure why he did it. So, in the course of the season, it's shown that Kakyoin was one of the very few people who could get a genuine smile out of Jotaro, and he most of the time tried to protect him at all costs. He was the first to launch to destroy whoever did him something. So yeah, he was kind of that friend that is very overprotecting with Kakyoin in this case. It actually he is like that basically only with Kakyoin, so it's suspicious. Both are people that are easily defined as not very sociable, and thanks to that, both they really don't need to share many words to show how much they love each other, since Kakyoin on several occasions has tried to impress Jotaro by making him notice that he was a quite strategic person and did not need to use brute force for achieve his goals. So yeah. At the end of the season, Kakyoin ends up sacrificing himself for the team. Jotaro tries to bear his pain as best as possible, but no matter how many years have passed, it has been shown that he could never get over it. 10 years later, it is revealed that Jotaro became a marine biologist. Casually, in his season, he said that he hated the sea, but Kakyoin liked it. Funny fact, after Jotaro found out about Kakyoin's preference for the sea, he was temporarily unable to continue the adventure temporarily. During this time, Jotaro began to study and learn about the sea. Possibly, the sea helped him to remember him and feel in company. About 22 years later, it's revealed that Joro had a daughter and divorced his wife. He attentives have managed to find certain patterns that remind us of Kakyoin. Not the name of Joro's ex-wife is known, and there is only a photo of her, where she is seen with a very characteristic fringe, quite similar to Kakyoin's. And then there's Jolene, Jotaro's daughter. The stand that she has is quite similar to Kakyoin's stand. They both have almost the same ability and are very similar physically. One interesting thing about stands is that they are kind of a representation of our souls. So, if you are in some way, probably your stand will represent that. In another seasons, we will see more examples of that. But just to say a thing, Joylink technically have always wanted to the approval of his father, and magically his stance is practically the same, has the same abilities or very similar abilities from the Kakyoin stand. So it's kind of strange that she wanted to fit in some standards, and her soul fits perfectly with Kakyoin's no sé. And now she's pretty similar to Kakyoin. I don't know. I don't know how to say it. So sorry. When you can, then you go to Jotoro's appearance and character. Maybe your first impression will be like, oh, he has almost nothing that could be considered as homosexual. But you have to know how to differentiate things. A lot of time, many of us can relate homosexuality to the femininity of men, and they may be in a certain way related, but there's something else that enters to the equation, and it's that excessive masculinity could mean homosexuality too. We can have a very good example of that with Freddie Mercury, who technically is a very muscular man. He has a mustache, and in that time we had very good examples of how masculinity can be, and just about that time was really known too that they can get something called SIDA, or no, pero a ver, no es que tienes SIDA, pero es que en esa época la hipermasculinidad estaba súper dignificada en la comunidad homosexual, pero luego la hipermasculinidad fue como que súper censurada porque el SIDA estaba muy hablado, y literalmente, y esto lo saqué de un fanfic, pero es muy cierto, en esta época el SIDA era conocido como el cáncer gay. Entonces toda esta figura de la hipermasculinidad que presentaban los homosexuales se súper censuró y ya no era algo tan conocido, pero porque la sociedad tampoco lo quería ver así, y empezó a marginar más a los gays. Pero es de hecho muy normal que si eres gay seas hipermasculino o hiperfemenino. Ah! Well, I don't know. What I wanted to say is that if you are super masculine, it's probably because you're not exactly straight or something like that. It's very common. You can search it 80s or 70s gays and you will understand me. I can't just explain this and go for the branches and stuff like that. We have a lot to do. We have 8 seasons to talk about, and we are just in the 3rd one. So yeah, I want to do this quickly, fast. And well, we also, I don't know. Let's talk about Jotaro characteristic style. The way he acts, the way he speaks. At first they go unnoticed, But the more you see it, the more obvious everything becomes. A very important point to note is that the author of the manga, Araki, in in an interview was asked about the type of girls that Jotaro likes, which he couldn't help but laugh and say without further ado, I don't think Jotaro likes girls. So, yeah, that let us very clear. And as I said before, I guess, I don't remember if I said it before, but Jotaro really hates women. So it's very improbable that he got married because he wanted to or because he was really in love with her. It was presented more like it was something that he had to do and not something what he really wanted to. Or even something that was there to cope with something that he has never healed before. So yeah, that's Jotaro, and that's all I could say for now about the third season.
You wouldn't make it by jumping over the curves. But it's another story completely if you're catapulted over them. All I needed was your help. From the moment we left the tunnel, my plan was to get you to hit me by sacrificing my power. That said, I think it's time we continued our race. Don't you?
Don't let this guy get you, Kakyoin! Stay focused! Kakyoin!
There. Now his soul belongs to me. The poor fool admitted defeat. He finally realized that it was pointless to continue racing. Still, I must say, you, Kakyoin, are the first opponent to ever make me perspire like this. Given its source material, this doll will make a most exquisite addition to my growing collection. He was the very first opponent to muster up the courage to conquer his fears and resist cracking under such colossal pressure.
No, Kakyoin!
I will treasure his good company always. Careful. It would be in the best interest of all involved for you to keep your emotions in check. Harming me is out of the question. You see, dying is something I simply can't do if you want your friend back. Slipping on a banana peel and hitting my head, choking on gum, or even suffering a heart attack from the shock of popping a bag of popcorn. If any of those things sent me to heaven, Kakyoin's soul would go too.
The first pitch! What? Strike one! Hey, I don't get it. What's wrong? That was a pretty amateur move back there. It's great that you swung the bat and all, but it was before he even threw the ball. Hey, what's this all about? There's no need for you to practice your swing, is there? Hang on, Jotaro, is this the very first time you've ever played this? In fact, have you ever played a video game in your life? You answer me right now, Jotaro!
Relax. I already know how to play baseball. I'll figure out the game controls as I go.
What are you saying? Strike! Better out! Jotaro, it's time to get serious! Stop trying to act cool and use your blasted head! You bet your soul on this game, so if you think you can back out due to lack of experience, think again!
Good grief. This is the worst pep talk I've ever heard. You should be more encouraging. Try something like, it's only the first inning, you can still make a comeback.
What the hell's going through that head of yours? You can't possibly rely solely on Star Platinum's reflexes to win this game, can you? Think about it! You don't know the first thing about video games! How are you supposed to beat him? What's your plan, Jotaro? Answer me, damn it! Do you have a way to beat this weirdo or not?
Jotaro? Listen, if your strategy is to trick me by pretending to be an amateur, let me inform you that it isn't going to work. I'd never be foolish enough to let my guard down. Even if you were a helpless child, it wouldn't happen. A soul is at stake.
Old man. Since you wanted to know, I don't have a plan. However, if I did have one, the only thing it would involve would be knocking the nose straight off the face of this condescending, overinflated douchebag of a prig taking up space beside me. All I care about is getting Kakyoin's soul back. I'll do whatever it takes.
5 minutes later.
来てダメージを受けてたまるか。入ったー！ホームラン！ジャガーズ5点目！5対3！しまった！うっかり魂を離してしまった。歌教員の魂が意識が戻った。違うぞ。俺は負けを認めてはいない。うっかり魂を離してしまったんだ。
魂が解放されたということは、おめえの心が負けを認めたということだぜ。
しっかりしろ歌教員。くそ、後ろから。さてと、あとはこいつの始末だけだな。ドギー！許してくれ。歌教員の魂だって戻しただろう。これで元に戻ったじゃねえか。許してね。
許すか許さねえか、心の中を読んでみりゃいいじゃねえか。
ノー。
質問だ。右の拳で殴るか左の拳で殴るか当ててみな。
一思いに右でやってくれ。ノー。左？ノー。両方ですか？
イエス。
もしかしてオラオラですか？
Yes.
Oh my god.
テレスティダービーリタイア。
Now, let's talk about Diamond is Unbreakable. The part 4 of Jojo's. The protagonist of this season is called Josuke. He is the son of Joseph and Jotoro's uncle. However, Josuke is only 16 years old, while Jotaro is already 28. Fans point that Josuke could really easily be gay or bisexual, but not many people believe that being bisexual is so well founded or even has evidence. So, well, if people don't say that he's directly straight with no evidence, they say he's gay, directly gay. Josuke is a boy who can be very funny and gentle, but he can also be quite serious. Depends on the situation, I guess. He likes to buy clothes from a good brand and wear them. He is also characterized by the extravagant hairstyle, and if someone dares to make fun of his hairstyle, you will face serious consequences. Despite his somewhat bipolar character, he's not rude to anyone unless they make fun of his hair. However, the girls can talk quietly with Josuke and he is not going to get upset. Anyway, he doesn't like to share many words that are not with his friends, Koichi and Okuyasu. With that latter, he gets along especially better because they usually have a better time together. I mean specifically with Josuke with Okuyasu. In the series, we are introduced to a very characteristic character. His name is Rohan, and he and Okuyasu are usually the first options for fans when it comes to finding Josuke a romantic interest. Although Josuke has shown that with Rohan he feels a relationship based on pure respect and nothing more. Instead, with his best friend, Okuyasu, many things usually happen that can question Josuke's homosexuality, causing him to have many moments where it can be interpreted as they are more than friends. At one point in the season, the main villain of the season, Yoshikage Kira, almost killed Okuyasu. Josuke tried to save him and convinced himself that he was alive, even when they tried to convince him that he wasn't. He just didn't listen, stating that they both were very close. Jerry has a very playful and lively side. He's a very nice guy and usually is very charismatic and gentle, but he can have a very strange and dark side sometimes. Anyway, his personality usually breaks apart when it comes to clothes or things that shows or get her feminine way or his feminine side exposed. So yeah, that's basically just his personality. He isn't not exactly bad at women or something like that, but he looks like being pretty not interested in women generally. So that's it. I wish I could speak a little bit more about more serious.
光一くん、ここ最近急に顔が引き締まりました。勇気と信念を持った男の顔って感じです。でも笑うとその可愛いし。
おお、そいつは言えるぜ、確かによ。
How I catch you lacking is bad, bro. You're gay. You're homosexual. You're. It's too late. It's already in motion.
I will show you right now in front the entire list of the gayest and non-gayest from all the Jojo's lineage. At least that ones that we have spoken about in this video. If I ever do a second part, I will be talking about the fifth and the fifth season, and that and so long and so far. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed this pseudo documentary, and that's all. Thank you very much for listening if you did, and sorry for so less. Thank you for so much. And I now have to edit a 30 or even 40 minutes video, so I have a lot of work to do. So I'm leaving you. Goodbye.
You better believe it! should I believe it?
Come on, just believe it!
Boingo, boingo, combo! I am Boingo, I can transform. My height, weight, and even my smell, just like you imagine. No one will find out, and no one will catch on. The god of creation, Kunemu. I am horse, and Mustang's a gun. Mustang's known as the emperor, and I'm always second in a pair. But when I've got another, this team will win and thrive. But will this brat even survive?
I am Boingo, I prophesize with manga. It comes true without fail, there's never any mistake. I'm very shy and I'm always alone. The god of knowledge, thoughtful.
Everything,
It's gonna go great.
Hasn't it so far?
Once a prophecy appears, it's set in stone. There's never any way to change its tone.
If we had to code it near to the prophecy, everything will go our way. Hasn't it so far?